The countdown to 2026 has already begun. And Formula One is on the edge of a storm. The air crackles with excitement, but beneath the glossy pre-season hype, panic is whispering through the paddock. Because this isn't just another regulation change, this is a rewrite of Formula One's DNA. And it could turn the fastest sport on Earth into something drivers and fans barely recognise. Nicholas Tombazis, the man in charge of F1's single-seater rules, has already sounded the alarm. He admits straight to our ears, we absolutely don't want drivers to lift off on the straights. Think about that. They don't want drivers easing off the pedal on the fastest parts. Why? Because the new 2026 power units could force that unless they change the rules. Now something feels off. The drivers, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon and Lance Stroll jumped into simulators already, and their alarms are ringing. They fear Formula One will become a cold strategic game like playing chess in a race car instead of pure thrilling speed. Here's the crunch. The new 2026 engines will blend electric power with a smaller internal combustion engine, ICE. That means batteries, electrical systems, real cutting-edge tech. Tombazi says the electrification is exciting. Manufacturers will get to shine by innovating on the electrical side. But there's a catch. The batteries may not last a whole lap. The car could slow down on straights, drivers having to make weird decisions. Lift off, coast, save energy, instead of just driving flat out. Tombazis warns, we don't want a situation where they have to lift off. Drivers will keep the pedal to the metal, as they say. Now, F1 is a world of power struggles, not only on track but in boardrooms. The engine formula, the actual hardware, is already locked in. No changes allowed, and that freezes the fight. Some manufacturers might dominate, others get stuck. Tombazis admits it isn't always easy to get everyone to agree. Technical specification is set in stone, so the FIA is left with tweaking energy recovery and deployment, the electrical levers behind the scenes and on different tracks. Things like how fast power drops on straights, how much energy is recovered, that sliding scale instead of fixed 8.5 megajoules per lap. They're racing the clock. Tombazi says we haven't finished the rules yet. Rules are evolving. We knew of these issues from day one. There will definitely be a lot of evolution between now and the start of next year. But there's more turmoil. Not all engine makers are sharing their data freely. Some are very secretive. Some others are very open. Tombazi says that secrecy breeds suspicion. Who's confident? Who's nervous? Meanwhile, the drama gets juicier. What if someone's engine is weak? Can the FIA step in with a balance of performance, a BOP, to slow down the strongest and help the weak? Tombazis shuts it down fast. That's definitely not going to happen. He explains a BOP is used in other racing to make the cars equal artificially. That's not F1. F1 depends on merit. Tombazis says a BOP tries to equate performance artificially and makes certain cars faster. That is not the case in F1. Instead, manufacturers who fall seriously behind in engine power, more than 3% below the best, get a lifeline. After the 5th race of the season, they can do more engine development and testing, but only if they show they still need it. Still no DRS, but new boost buttons, active wings. The whole pace-changing game is being rewritten. These are not tweaks. They are seismic shifts in F1 DNA. Here's the emotional pivot. Is F1 about heart and raw skill, or silent calculations in the garage about energy curves? That's the real engine drama. So, what does the FIA do when engines go lopsided? When one team nails it and another team's power unit can barely keep up? Nothing. That's the bombshell. There will be no balance of performance, no weight added to the fastest cars, no shortcuts for the ones behind. And Tombazis couldn't be clearer. That is not the case in F1. This isn't Le Mans, it isn't GT racing. This is Formula One, where the strong survive and the weak scramble. And the new 2026 regulations, they're set to split the grid wide open. Behind the scenes, Mercedes is smiling quietly, confidently. They've built a strong 2026 engine, one that insiders say is well under control. That's a polite way of saying they might dominate, but not everyone is as lucky. Red Bull of all teams is sweating. Their in-house engine program, Red Bull Powertrains, is still playing catch-up, and the paddock knows it. There are real concerns about whether they'll be competitive at all under the new rules. Now, here's where it gets juicy. If Red Bull's engine ends up underperforming, you'd expect the FIA to step in, right? Level the playing field. Wrong. There will be no mercy, no artificial boost, no extra time. Only after 5 races, and only if the performance gap is provable, can an underperforming manufacturer unlock extra development privileges. Until then, it's survival of the fittest. Or, as Tombazis might say, you had 2 years. If you didn't figure it out, that's your problem. So now we have the perfect ingredients for chaos. Locked-in rules, unequal progress, and no balancing act from the top. What happens when the lights go out in 2026 and one car takes off like a rocket and the rest are stuck in energy-saving mode? What happens when drivers start shouting over team radio, furious that they're lifting on straights, getting past like they're standing still? And what happens when fans start switching off? Not because F1 got boring, but because it stopped feeling fair. That's the nightmare scenario. That's the heart of this story. Tombazi says the FIA is listening. He insists there will be quite a lot of new provisions to make sure that cars are not decelerating on the straights, doing funny things or unnatural things. But it's what he doesn't say that lingers in the air. He doesn't say everyone's happy. He doesn't say all teams are cooperating. In fact, he admits not all teams and PU manufacturers are as transparent with us. Some are very secretive. Why the secrecy? Because those who crack the code don't want the rules changed. Those who are behind want tweaks, delays, anything to catch up. And the FIA is stuck in the middle. They're trying to please the fans, protect the sport's integrity, and navigate a political minefield of billion-dollar manufacturers, each with their own agenda. Tombazis reveals the quiet truth. When teams and manufacturers discuss these matters, they think of a combination of the good of the sport and their own competitive position. Translation: everyone's pretending to care about the sport, but they really care about winning. And right now, it feels like nobody knows how this ends. Even the drivers, those brave souls thrown into simulators months in advance, are seeing a future they barely recognize. Verstappen raised the alarm 2 years ago. Now Leclerc, Albon, and Stroll are echoing the same dread. The feeling that driving these 2026 cars isn't about racing anymore. It's about managing energy, watching numbers, playing defense. That's not what fans fell in love with. It's not the roaring charge down the main straight. It's not the scream of an engine pushing to the limit. It's not the instinctive overtake into turn 1. It's a spreadsheet in a cockpit. And that's what the FIA is desperate to avoid. So here's the cliffhanger. Will these quiet months of negotiation, simulation, and secret testing actually fix anything? Or are we heading toward a season opener in 2026 that shocks everyone for the wrong reasons? The rules are written, the engines are built, but the fight is just beginning. Drop your thoughts below. Should the FIA step in if Red Bull's engine underdelivers? Should F1 sacrifice performance for competition? Or is this what we signed up for, a brutal, unforgiving, winner-takes-all war? You decide, because the countdown to 2026 has already begun, and it might just be Formula One's most controversial season yet.